Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the HighLevel Experience Podcast. Our guest today is a visionary entrepreneur who has mastered the art of blending technology with marketing. He's the founder of Acquire One, a company that has revolutionized the way service businesses scale through the use of paid ads, funnels, and AI automation. With a keen eye for innovation and deep understanding of digital marketing, he has helped countless businesses thrive in the digital age. So please welcome to the show a fellow high leveler, Kartik Ayalasom Maya Jula.
Yeah, perfect. Good pronunciation. Thank you. Great to be here. Yeah, super excited. I'm not sure whether I'm the right person, but we'll find out. But thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, great to have you, mate. So you use high level
Yes.
and you're a SaaSpreneur.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say you are the right person to be here.
Okay, good. We're good. That's good. Don't qualify.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I heard
Fantastic.
a lot of good things about you. I know how you run your agency, and this show is about helping inspire others and also learn from each other. So yeah, this is a perfect fit, mate. Perfect fit. So let's get started. What made you like? What's your journey to becoming an agency owner? What led you to wanting to have an agency in the first place?
Yeah, so I come from a sort of a very much a big four consulting corporate background, and I think it was sort of 15 years in that space. Project manager, technology, delivery projects, all that sort of stuff. And I was just done. I just had enough with the corporate world and the politics and the bureaucratics and, you know, I guess the games that are played. It is just very fake. So
Hmm.
it took my time to figure that out, I guess. But I came across an opportunity, or yeah, just usually casually scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, or whatever it is, and came across this concept of go high level at that time, and I thought, oh, this sounds interesting. This is pretty innovative. This could be, initially, it was meant to be a sort of an additional side hustle, side income type thing. But so I started doing more digging and did more discovery and realized actually, yeah, this could be a pretty good business opportunity. Never before had I ever thought about running a business or anything like that. And then came across it, started to do some research and thought, okay, this could be a revolution here in Australia. I might be one of the first few adopters into this platform. Little did I know, it was about 400 people already in the States. So I was a bit late to the party, but better late than never, I suppose. And then met people like Ryan, Emily. Shout out to guys at Growth Ball, Stephen Tan, extendedly all these sort of guys. Gary Caps, to name a few, Alok from or HighLevel Freaks. So yeah, a few guys met with them, and we had the Sydney event, not the SaaSpreneur one, but one last year, the Agency Ignite, and that's when really sort of felt that this is what I want to be doing. So that's how I got into the agency world, and yeah, haven't looked back since, I suppose.
Yeah, excellent. That's great. I'm having a validation as well, like seeing that this is not just a fluff. This is really working for so many people. I reckon there's definitely more than 400 at this stage for us in
Now there
Australia.
probably is, yeah.
I wonder what that number is, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Did you notice that a lot more small business owners now know like high level as well?
They do now, yeah. Just through conversation we have, people are figuring it out, or they're recognizing, when we do the demo and stuff, they're recognizing the layout and stuff, and they ask, oh, is that high level? It was just like, yeah, it is. So when we first started, it was still relatively fresh, and people didn't really know about it, but it's happening more and more. People are finding out about it. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's only good, it's only positive. It
Yeah.
just means that the guys at high level are doing something good. They're doing something right. If it's becoming more recognizable and people are still using it, so yeah, I mean, kudos to them for creating and continuing to maintain a great product.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember like 4 years ago, it's roughly when I started with 4.5 years ago. Everybody was like, what do you tell people when they ask you if this is your thing? And then everybody was on about like just I wouldn't want anybody to know this is high level. Whereas now it's actually the other way around. People know what a high level is, and businesses now realize that's the model. Like you kind of have to work with an agency that's reselling it because that's how you get help. If you just go on your own, good luck to you. If you're really techie, yes, that's great. But for most business owners, they're not. So it does feel like it's making our job a little bit easier trying to explain what the heck is this and how do we have this behemoth, gigantic technological platform without having to have hundreds of developers behind us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as an agency owner, that's one of your biggest, in the SaaS world, one of your biggest challenges logistically is the product itself. And if it's a whole function in itself, it's a whole team, agile teams and product owners and
Yeah.
people around that, and then the tech. So there's a whole, it's a business in itself, right? And so for us as agency owners to not have to worry about the development of that, the enhancements, the updates, the roadmap, all that sort of technology roadmap from that perspective, and we can just white label it and sell and use it, and build businesses off it, of a handful of functions or even one function. That just makes it so much easier. I mean, look, there's obviously different challenges that we have to focus on, but there's one less thing that you have to worry about from the actual platform itself, from the development of that and the maintenance of that. I mean, it becomes a no-brainer in my opinion, and that's why you see more and more people getting on board as agency owners and doing their thing, right? Because they have the flexibility and they don't have to worry about coding or developing or maintaining servers and all this sort of stuff, right? It's all done for you. It just pay a subscription fee and it's taken care of. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's a great business model that the guys have developed and maintained. And I mean, yeah, they're obviously laughing as well. So it's free marketing for them.
Definitely, yeah. So all those things that you said, 100%. However, there is one thing I do find, and as HighLevel just keeps expanding, as a lot more features just keep being added. At this point, like getting a new customer who's not that tech savvy, it takes a while. So really, the bulk of the workload that I'm finding on our end is adoption. Like having to spend a lot of time on really good onboarding. One meeting is not going to cut it. You kind of have to have a couple of subsequent meetings. The clients have a lot of resources to, really, because if you don't have that adoption happening fast or at all, you're not going to keep them, right? They're just not going to see the value.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, adoption is pretty crucial. I mean, on onboarding, yeah, even for us, we try to have one onboarding call per new client, but then we'll a formal one, and then after that, it'll just be subsequent back and forth, like email or phone or calls or whatever it is that we need to do. So yeah, it is very much a continuous. I suppose because we do it sort of more of a done for you approach. We are sort of doing a lot more interaction with the client, and it's more hands on from that perspective. Having said that, we're still trying to make it as streamlined as possible. But yeah, adoption is definitely pretty crucial, and you just have to continuously keep getting them to use it, to remind them how to use it, and show them the value, and that's what helps with reducing the churn as well. So it has its flow-on effect if it's not done correctly and not done effectively.
Yeah, and whilst we would all want to have like the economics of scale and do like open office hours and community, that like a one-to-many format, I'm finding it difficult to get away from like not having to offer one-to-one as well, because like you just get stuck, right? I wonder if there's like some happy medium, or like have you worked out like the right balance of how many what onboarding sessions, and where do you what have you found that works?
Yeah, we haven't gone down the route of group onboarding yet. I suppose because of the three main services we do: lead generation, we do the voice AI, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and then we haven't really started the pure SaaS clients yet. So I guess maybe when we get the pure SaaS clients, then that's probably where we would look to implement the group onboarding, the group training, or the tutorials, open hours, or open office hours, or whatever the case may be. That's probably a future plan, I suppose. For now, we're focused very much in the done for you space, so it is quite individualized. It is quite sort of one-on-one. in that sense. Obviously, it's a bit more work, and then that means you need to have a bit more of a team and support and all that. But look, I mean, I think we've got to a point where we're able to now, we've got a sort of a structure, we've got a process, and irrespective of what type of industry the client is coming from, our process remains the same in the way we go about the delivery, the onboarding, the configuration, and then the customization is obviously going to be tailored to the particular business. But it is a sort of a process that we've sort of developed over time and is now starting to be more efficient. And then we're always finding ways to tighten that up and see what we can and can't do to make it more effective and save time, but still keep the quality of the outcome and the output intact. So yeah, it's finding that right balance. It is a juggling act at times. You kind of got to do a bit of trial and error, certainly initially anyway. But yeah, when you start to grow as an agency, as a business, and then you've got more time to focus on working on the business rather than in the business, that then helps, and you can then refine all these processes and things like that, documentation and all that sort of fun admin stuff that we all love doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, well, let's talk about the big one. I know that's for most of us here this year. That's the big opportunity: voice AI, conversation AI. I know we spoke about it briefly before, but I think we should probably stay on it for a little bit from this topic for the listeners as well. And yeah, how do we dive into this? What's working for you right now?
I think for us, what's working is the main function is the outbound calling. Right now, obviously, HighLevel doesn't have that yet. It's in the works. It's in the beta version, and I think I've seen some posts coming up about the stuff coming about it. Finally, yeah, I suppose natively. So, but look, I think it's healthy competition for them, right? Because we're time is money in this business, or in any business really. So those people that build a platform and build a solution that can integrate with HighLevel to get that capability sooner rather than later, are always going to be ahead of the curve. But if HighLevel gets on board eventually, which I'm sure they will, which they're in the process of doing, then it's only going to make it better, and they'll just keep the other guys in check as well to sort of make them continuously develop their model and their products, right? So I think there's a place for everyone. But yeah, certainly the outbound calling has been something that has helped us. And even if we haven't had people necessarily signing up for it, it certainly started the conversations, and it certainly led to other upsell opportunities. Like we've now got to a situation where we're no longer running ads for our done for you lead generation capability, but rather we're just focusing purely on the voice AI side of it. And then in the demo calls we had, we upsell because we find out that, oh yeah, actually, what else do you guys do? You guys do, can you guys help us with our posts or organic posting? Or can you guys help us with, our presence or funnel page or whatever, a chat widget, whatever you want, right? So all the different features within HighLevel that it's got, they now become upsell opportunities. But it's called the lead magnet, or the hook, if you like, is very much the voice AI, and it becomes a lower entry point for them as well, and then it's a much easier conversation.
So you find that works best leading with the voice AI first because it's a novelty, because people respond to it well?
Yeah, and I think it's more tangible. Well, what we found is when you're trying to sell lead generation, you are sort of selling a bit of a promise as well. It's a bit of it's a concept, and unfortunately, there's been so many scammers before us, and there still is, right? And so there is certainly in Australia, there's a natural apprehension to want to go down this path and use agencies like us or whoever to do this, because a lot of businesses have been burned by scammers. So that becomes a harder sell, right? And then even at the price point is obviously done for your lead gen, so it's a higher price point. To start at that higher price point becomes a much harder sell, for you really have to truly sell them the value, and not everyone's going to be adopted. So your sales cycle becomes a lot longer, and the chances of you closing one of those deals is less than if you're getting in a lower entry point. The risk level becomes lower for the company, for the business as well, and they're more open to giving it a go because it's only going to cost them, a small amount, and it's not that much for them to lose if it doesn't work out. And so then you build the trust, you do develop the capability, you build it, yeah, and then they realize that, yeah, actually this is working. Oh, by the way, can you guys help us with something else? And then we go in and say, yeah, well, we can do your lead gen as well, because calls are great, but who are you going to call if you don't have any leads, right? So it's
Yeah.
we can do the whole thing for you. That and then now you've got a full 360 system that's being implemented. So that's worked for us, and it's taken a bit of time for us to figure it out. I guess we've sort of now we've been doing this for just over 12 months now, and I think really in the last 3 months is when we've kind of cracked that code, so to speak. And this is what's working for us. Obviously, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for everyone, and each
Yeah.
agency will have their own strategies and own ways to go about things. But yeah, this is certainly what's working for us at the moment.
Yeah, there are many. I mean, there's one, oh, I don't know, I forgot the name, but I know they were really big. They were selling like a lifetime thing, but that's because they had like a really good deal at the beginning. They struck up deal HighLevel where they were selling lifetime deal, but really all they got was just the CRM, just the contacts, and all the other features stripped off. And
Right.
then they were doing the peeling the onion thing. So slowly, hey, would you like this feature? And then that's only this much. And then this one's only this much. This one's only $10. This one's only. So interesting model as well. At the end, probably end up paying hundreds of dollars for a subscription on all the features. But I mean, going back to adoption, not a bad model when you're trying to make sure that people don't get distracted of everything and then just slowly get them focused on one thing, get them winning with one thing, and then slowly add another thing. So it is like figuring out that code, right? How do we crack the code? How do we make it the most seamless so the offer is not just the offer, but also the delivery of it and how it gets taken up by the customer as well in the most effective way. It's a bit of a science because none of that is what I thought it would be, right? You look at HighLevel, I'm like, this is bloody awesome, like, and I'm a nerd, like, I'm like, this is amazing. Everybody will want it, but then it's like the reality is slightly different because not everybody is as nerdy and not everybody is like, I want it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also there are different platforms that do different things for different businesses, different people, right? So you've got financial services specific platforms, CRMs. You've got dental specific CRMs. You've got medical CRMs, and they're already using all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But then one of the challenges that we see, which I'm sure many others see as well, is that how do you then integrate with their existing CRM, because they don't really want to change that, and a lot of businesses are reluctant to change. But they still want the capability. They just can't have it plugged into their CRM. So then it becomes a custom integration, and then that becomes a
Mm-hmm.
whole different conversation altogether, right? And so then we start to get into development and this, that, and whatnot, because and then there's a commercial aspect of it. Is it worth it? Is it worth the effort? Are we going to get enough more about it, more opportunities to do this, and how much time and investment do you want to go down that path and whatnot? So you're opening up a whole can of worms from that
Yeah, and
perspective as well. So
how do you price it? How do you quote it to the client? Is that something they're going to be super excited about, or is it more of a just something that we have to have in order for them to work with us? It's
yeah, well, that's it, right? And because you talk when you start talking custom integrations, well, then sky's the limit, right? Because you can't really, I guess, commoditize that like HighLevel is doing. This is not really a subscription anymore.
yeah. You gotta have to have your
It's
own.
specific things that you're looking for, right? So
Yeah.
it makes it more complex.
There are ways to minimize the cost as much as you can, like having your own private N8N server, but you still pay for the API. For depends what you've connected to it, whether it's how to rebuild, right? To do that. So that's definitely on the more advanced technical side of things. Sometimes you just can't get away. I do have to say though, just recently I started to look at just for the service industry. I've just been looking at some options because I've been helping out with clients who use House Call Pro or they use Service Titan or Service Mate, and it's the same thing, like you just said. Like they are so entrenched in using that it's really hard to switch over. However, I just discovered about a couple of months ago this vendor called Field Tasker. Have you
Don't
heard
know.
of it?
Haven't heard of it. No, I haven't heard of it. Yeah.
Field Tasker, I think Field. Anyway, it's been built for service-based industry, so it's got GPS tracking of your drivers. You can assign jobs and who's going to go where on the day, and it's fully built on top of HighLevel. So it's not trying to build its own CRM. It's only building the things that HighLevel doesn't have. But then when it comes to database, it's basically piggybacking off HighLevel's one. So you install it as a custom menu link, and you could offer that to plumbers, electricians, everybody. So I highly recommend you guys check it out. I'll put it in the show notes anyway. Just something to share on that one because it could be interesting. So voice AI, outbound voice AI, that's a big one because with inbound and all that, it's you put money, you generate ads and all that, but you're kind of relying on the markets, right? And how well the brand is going to resonate with them. Outbound, it's like if you wanted to be proactive and it's you wanted to pick an option on how you can proactively reach out, it's almost like there couldn't be a better option because it's automated. Yeah. You could trigger it based on a particular condition, so you can automate it. You can still have potentially even your own voice if you clone your own voice through 11 Labs, and it has context. If you do it well, it can have a context of past conversations, and you can do this at scale.
Yep.
So what's been your experience with this? Because I haven't tapped into the outbound just yet, and I would think a lot of people haven't yet. How are people responding to the actual contacts responding to it, and what be good use cases that you find are working?
Yeah, so it's been received pretty well. Certainly people. The simplest use case would be just not being able to find time to call your leads or follow up on leads just because, everybody has their businesses to run and, life gets in the way and business gets in the way and you just don't have time to follow up on leads, right? So this functionality or this capability takes that on, does it for you. And to your point, you can set workflows, you can set triggers, you space it out as much as you want, however which way you want. It has the capacity and the capability to be able to do that with really no limitations, more or less. I think even with voices now, you can probably do it out not more than just English as well. As long as you can import the voices, or you can just clone your voices or whatnot, or get the right prompts. So yeah, it's pretty crazy as to what it is capable of doing. And I mean, the biggest thing that helps businesses is just save time and money. And that's ultimately what a business owner is always looking at.
Yeah.
This does that for you. The outbound even more so than the inbound. Inbound, to your point, you still, yes, it saves time and money, but you're still reliant on people actually calling into your business, right? So with inbound, you kind of need, a cheap plug here, but you kind of need the lead gen attached to that because to attract people to come and call you. Whereas if you're outbound, you would expect that you've got a list of names or leads that already that you want to start to reach out to, whether that's cold calling or whether it's just warm leads, that, you just need to, you can just set that up so it just does it for you and starts to ring and contact people. And it just makes it so much more simpler for businesses to get on board. So yeah, people are certainly really interested in that. We find that people in the real estate sector are really keen about that too, because they'll have heaps of leads to follow up and contact, right? So yeah, that's what we find is quite common.
Yeah, I did spoke to a couple of real estate guys a couple of weeks back. They're like, "Do you have it? Do you have it? Can we have it?" Like, let me get back to you. I just want to do a bit more research on the legalities and and how to do this right because it's so new, right? Still reasonably new. You mentioned cold calling and you mentioned following up warm leads. So cold calling, how does that work? Like, do people get pissed off that they've been called by AI? What's the percentage of people? What's the result on those?
Yeah, look, to be honest, we don't encourage it. I mean, we can't, to a degree, control that because we don't really dictate how businesses run their business, I guess. We encourage people to not use it for cold calling. And I suppose we do have, at the end of the day, they're paying by or how we do it is that they're paying by usage, right? So um, in terms of the cold call, I think it's even like not even legal in Australia to cold call. And there's legislations around it and whatnot. So we don't encourage it, and so we try to, I guess, cap that by the pricing tier models that we have, and so it sort of gives people a bit more control over that. But also from the workflow perspective, right? If you've got if you're sort of spacing it out and you're not sort of bombarding people and whatnot, so that also helps too. But in terms of adoption of the actual voice itself, I mean, look, the voices are getting better and better, right? So it's becoming more and more realistic. I think that's all, like anything AI related, it's all in the prompt and how well you can prompt it. So yeah, it is the cold calling thing is still a problem in the industry. I think no one likes a cold call, including, I'm sure, yourself and myself, right? So that's a problem. So yeah, we don't really encourage our clients and prospects to use it as a cold calling mechanism, but so there's so much we can control, I suppose.
Because obviously, I mean, this comes with a cost, right? And there's, unlike SMS, like a database reactivation, when you can kind of, structure it, it's probably at most maybe 5 SMS messages per contact. You can kind of budget for it. With voice AI, you never know. Like if somebody picks up that call, depends how you configure it. But if you set your limits to like 10 minutes tops for the calls, well, that's 10 minutes phone call. That can get quite expensive if you do 10 minutes call per person. So you really got to be careful who you're going to use this for, right? So yeah, I think using it for warm leads, paid ads, following up, even following up with existing customers is definitely a good use case. Yeah. So you do this all through HighLevel, or do you use a third party?
So we don't use HighLevel for this. I mean, it's integrated into HighLevel. We use Assistable as a platform for in both inbound and outbound, but obviously specifically outbound. We're actually also now using the conversational AI within Assistable too. So
Yeah.
we sort of consolidated that, and we were previously using Closebot, but I mean, I'm assuming I can drop all these names, by the way, if you beep it out if I can't
Yeah,
in
mate.
the, in the in the editing. But so yeah, so we use Assistable now for both the voice and the conversational AI functionality, and it's been working pretty well. As I said, certainly the platform is really straightforward, very simple, more or less straightforward to use. The prompting as well. The one thing I really like is that it actually, like GPT, you punch in a couple of sentences and it just creates the prompt for you. You can just sort of go in and tweak it. That's what I thought was pretty awesome. So really anybody can do it. You
Yeah.
don't need to be an expert and obviously the better you are as an expert, you can make it more advanced and fancy and specific, but anyone can pick it up and create a prompt and it'll just spit out the full configuration for the bot, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, we've found that it's worked pretty well for us. It obviously integrates really well with HighLevel, and yeah, and then you can sort of you can just have it as I think it's called a webhook inside of HighLevel, so you don't even have to keep opening up a separate site for it. It's all in the one view. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome for us. There's obviously tweaks and challenges and things that always come up, but naturally, when it's a new product, it's a new capability, you're always going to get those minor bugs and whatnot. But yeah, that's just technology, I guess. Right? So it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different vendors in the market, and the good thing about all that is that it's speeding up. It's speeding up the advancement because sometimes high level is a little bit slower on certain things. So I know that Assistable right now is taking. There's a lot of interest growing for it. I mean, we use it as well. This is why you were laughing because we both know. We already know that, but for the listeners, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. That's all I gotta say about that. You guys could check it out. Should check it out. That's not to say that HighLevel is bad. I mean, they've got pretty solid, foundation for voice AI and conversation AI as well. So for basic use cases, I think out of the box it's great as well. Yeah, voice AI very very interesting. I was gonna talk to you about like HighLevel. What about HighLevel originally grabbed your attention?
I think what originally grabbed my attention was the simplicity of it, just the ease of use and how, yeah, everything is just like right there. So it's easy to use. I mean, I've used CRMs before. I've used Salesforce, HubSpot in the corporate world, but yeah, there's something that's simple and you can do so much with it, so much more with it than most other CRMs, and you don't have to pay for anything else. You've got it all in the one spot. So yeah, that the simplicity and ease of use, I think, is was the biggest thing.
Yeah, yeah. Would you consider yourself like a bit of a nerd? Like, do you spend time to like look at the latest features, the high-level release, or you focus more on strategy?
Yeah, absolutely not a nerd. So I focus more on how we can sort of run and grow the business and leave the nerdy stuff to the tech team, that the experts will look after all that for us. Yeah, I'm just very much about the growth of the business, and from the sales side, and what are the products or what are the solutions we can implement in there, and what are the solutions we can actually deliver and sell is sort of where I come into the picture.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. So if you were to start today from scratch, how would you do it?
As a start again, you mean?
Like your
Yeah.
agency? What?
Yeah, okay. So if I was to start again, and I mean, to be honest, I feel like we're continuously doing that every day, inadvertently. But I think if I was to start again, I would start with going down the SaaS route. Like, I feel like that's something that we've late to the party there. We're actually not at the party yet. We still haven't really truly done it. So I think I would sort of start with that and just go very simple and straightforward and not sort of overcomplicate it, and maybe not go down the done for you route, and just, you know, have a more of a hands-off approach, because then you can focus on, scaling that more. The other side, I would say, if I can, is to go down the content route and just do more content. And I feel like that's something that we haven't done enough of. We do the paid ad side of it, but more the organic content, and building that sort of community, and really, you know, becoming an expert user in it, so that we can then, I guess, teach, and or not teach, but more just, promote and talk about the features, and that inadvertently helps you sell as well. So they're probably the two things I would say I would do.
Yeah, almost like the strategy of all the big affiliate marketers, what they do for high level, they are doing really well. One of the things that I've found for myself over the last 4 years has always been this interesting conundrum was like, dip your toes in a little bit of the affiliate side, but then like, should I just do SaaS or should I just do it? And you just keep, trying things. Obviously, I'm not trying any of these things anymore. I've kind of settled on just focusing my SaaS. But yeah, every now and then you look at it like some of these affiliates like on the leaderboard that started, maybe 3 years ago with a YouTube channel, and that's all they do. Well done. Like, congrats to them, because that's not a bad model either. And I think it's going to be tougher now if somebody wanted to get into that, because there's so much more competition. But
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think the affiliate side of things will become harder and harder, is becoming harder and harder. Like,
yeah,
it's just because I think we mentioned, you talked about before, that more and more people are discovering high level, and they can recognize it when they see it. And so to become an affiliate of it, you really kind of need to do something different, I guess, to differentiate, because there's so many people doing the same thing now. It becomes a lot more competitive, and then, you know, you need to come up with something that's out of the box, that's not there, that people can tap into to help you grow.
yeah, yeah. Hey, Kartik, we've got this segment called 3 under 3, which is basically where we share like 3 impactful stories in under 3 minutes, or one story, 1 minute each. And it's about sharing a story of one of the clients that you may have worked with, help them out, improve something in their business, but as a result of that improvement, what impact this had on their lifestyle. Would you be keen to share one story like that?
Yeah, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, that should be fine. So we had a client come to us. They're a buyer's agency, I guess, more a buyer's agent. They were a buyer's agent. They were doing it part time, because they're still sort of doing the day job. And so this is a bit of a side hustle, trying to get it off the ground. Came to us to help us with some generating more leads, more buyers, I suppose. And us, with our process, we were able to, help them really grow or get more leads. And then they even closed. I think, I think we generated maybe 30 leads in the first month that they started with us. And, they closed five or six of those pretty much now that so they've now, left their full-time job on this, then this buyer's agency has now become their full-time gig. So they're running the business now, and they're growing strength and strength and strength. And, we're continuously working with them to generate, leads and qualified leads for them. So that's been a really good news story for us, but also more importantly for them. The person's been able to not have to worry about working their full-time job anymore, and they're just focused purely on the BA side of things. And sounds like they're doing pretty well, and they're pretty happy. They got more time back in their day, which is what the ultimate goal is for everyone, right? So that's
That's
financial freedom is what they're getting. So that's been something that we've been pretty happy with, and proud to be able to help them.
that's awesome. And you had a background in real estate as well, from my memory as well. Last time we talked about it.
I don't have a background in real estate. I've got a passion for real estate. I suppose I'm also at the moment doing some work in the real estate space as well myself, outside of the agency, just because we've always got so much time on our hands, right? Well, not really. So I do a bit of work in that space, but it's more out of passion more than anything else. Like I haven't really, but we've served a lot of real estate customers, and we still do, but never really had a career in that as such. But it's always been a passion project of mine in property and real estate, certainly in Australia.
Just Australia? Have you ever
Yeah.
thought about these ads coming out from Dubai, all these fancy futuristic things?
Yeah, I've thought about it. Dubai, Bali, India. I've always thought about it. I keep every time getting tempted about when these ads pop up, and I sort of fill out the details, and then someone contacts me, and I just can't. I'm just too busy to pick up the phone, and it just kind of I then realize why have I signed up. But then it's a good use case for me, because that's exactly what we do in our agency when we do lead gen, right? So it's always good to be on the other side, just to kind of see what other people are doing, and helps us with our strategies and approaches too. So, that's the silver lining in all of this. So it's not too bad, I suppose.
Yeah. Guys listening, just to get into the picture of this. So that 3 under 3 segment that we have, that's also available for you guys. If you're listening, if you just done amazing piece of work for a client and you want to share that to the world, then you absolutely can. If you head over to HighLevelExperience.com/your story, you can submit a little form there, just make a little audio recording and just mention your name of the agency, and the customer or client that you helped, and what was the result, or what was the impact for them. That would be brilliant, because I can then feature it in one of our next episodes, and everybody wins. Back to you, Kartik. What do you wish you had known when you started your agency?
Oh, how long have you got? That's heaps. I wish I would have known about HighLevel, first of all. So I got introduced to HighLevel through another person who was running a course about how to do, lead gen and paid ads, and then connected with HighLevel and whatnot. And at the time, I didn't really truly understand HighLevel enough. I was more focused on the paid ads and the lead gen side of things. But had I known about HighLevel, had I come across it before, I think, as I mentioned before, I think our strategy would have been completely different, perhaps, in terms of how to set up and grow this business. And who knows, I may have been could have been a diamond SaaSpreneur by now. I reckon. No, maybe not. But that's a bit much. But I think that would be the biggest thing. Had I known about HighLevel first and before anything else, I reckon I probably could have saved some cash with from the training as well, and just taught myself. But it's a lot easier in hindsight. And the silver lining is that it's opened me up to an amazing Australian high-level community. It's met so many people that have really helped me and provided advice, and continue to do, which has been fantastic. So there's always a silver lining in everything, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good point you make. Like with the community, I've been to Level Up Summit recently, been to Sydney to the SaaSpreneur, And every time, whether it's that or you hang out with people from the industry, everybody is pretty friendly. Everybody's happy to help and share and help each other out. And that's kind of unique. Not that common in most industries. Everybody's out, for themselves. And I mean, you're my competitor. I mean, this is a good case in point, right? In a way, we're not that far off. I'm in Canberra, in Sydney, right? So like,
Yeah.
but there's something to say that like, realizing the opportunity is big enough, marketplace is big enough, and sometimes collaboration, or oftentimes collaboration, can produce better outcomes, like for everybody, as opposed to trying to do it all on your own. So yeah, if you guys are
Yeah,
listening,
absolutely.
if you're thinking that you just need to do it your own thing, you don't talk to anybody, you totally can. But I tell you, if you reach out, there are many people in the community who are way ahead and they're willing to help out. Take that advantage, take that opportunity to learn faster, because it's a shortcut, right? It's a good shortcut. And speaking of shortcuts, for me, going to Level Up Summit in 2023 was that catapulting moment that really sort of, and it was more like the headspace. What do you think that you can do? How believe in your own abilities before and then after. Before you go to Level Up Summit and after you go. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but that event is just unreal. So I'm going in again in this October in Dallas. Are you going, Kartik?
No, not this year. Not this year. I've been telling everyone that for Dallas, we will go next year, 2026, to go and pick up our Gold Saspreneur Award. So
That
that's the
yeah,
goal. Yeah,
yeah. All right, yeah, I like
2026.
that. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. All right, well, mate, some personal questions. You ready?
So let's do it.
We're all humans. No one is perfect. What are you not very good at?
Well, again, how long have you got? So I am not good at a lot of things. I think probably one thing I would say I'm definitely not good at is playing sport. I certainly thought I was a decent cricketer back in the day, in my younger days. So, yeah, but now very much not good at playing sport. I'm much better at being a armchair critic and sitting on the couch and talking about how good or bad someone's playing or performing. But yeah, but going and playing sport myself, I'm terrible.
Look, I mean, in all fairness, I, I never got what this whole cricket thing is about. To me, it just looks super boring. There's not much happening. Everybody's
Yeah.
standing around. Every now and then, somebody throws a ball.
Yeah. Look,
But
it's an acquired taste. Having an Indian background is kind of ingrained in you, I
oh
suppose,
yeah,
from beginning, from the beginning.
yeah,
So yeah, it's really hard to get away from that. But yeah, look, it's one of those things you either hate it or you love it, I guess.
yeah, absolutely. Tell me something that's like true that almost nobody agrees with you on.
That almost no one agrees with me on. That's true. I mean, does it have to be factual or is opinion okay?
It's your opinion. You believe that's true.
Okay. So my opinion on something that I think is true is that I feel like people, and this is getting a bit philosophical, but I'm going to keep going anyway. But I feel like people, the world is just too stressed. Like I feel like people they just overthink things and don't keep it simple, right? I mean, we just, you know, again, I'm not here to tell to how to give people life advice, but I've always been the believer of just, live in the moment, just enjoy at the time, don't overthink it, don't think too far ahead, just focus on the now, present, and enjoy it because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's my philosophy. Across pretty much any scenario. A lot of people don't agree with that, and that's what it helps me be very relaxed when it comes to most things. But people mistake that for me being too chill and not caring enough.
Mm.
That's been one of my
Yeah,
biggest bugbears, even in my corporate career. When I go to an interview, what people will ask me, what's the standard question of what's your strength or what's your biggest weakness? I always say that, I'm very relaxed, and people see that as a weakness, but for me, I see that as a positive, because in a stressful moment, you want someone that's calm. You don't want someone that's stressed, because that just
Yeah.
then has a flow-on effect on everybody else. So yeah, a lot of people don't agree with that, but that's always been something that I guess is the way of life. Is the way my approach to these things, to pretty much anything.
Yeah, no, there's definitely something to it. I mean, living in the moment, not being stressed. I mean, the one thing it's interesting about getting stressed is that your IQ goes down as well. You just become more stupid and make worse
Yeah.
decisions. So on the flip side, though, I mean, there's also something to say about planning ahead and like going after certain targets. 12 months goals. So saying that you are more living in the moment type of guy, does that mean you don't plan ahead as much, or how do you set your goals?
Oh, not necessarily. I mean, I think it's still important as you said rightfully, it's still important to have goals, right? It's still important to have a plan, right? You don't want to just blindly, you know, go into something, especially if it's running an agency, you don't just blindly go into something, right? So you kind of need to have some sort of plan, or at least some idea of where you want it to go, what your ultimate goal is, perhaps, let's say, right? But I guess what my point there is that it's good to have it's okay to have a plan, but if things don't go to plan, which they inevitably will not, then it's not the end of the world, I guess, right? There is always a way. There is always a option for a plan B. There is always something that you can do to, either bypass or pivot or whatever the case may be, to get you either back on track or into a different direction. There is always a way. And so that's been my sort of approach, and I think my philosophy, I suppose. So yeah, okay to have a plan, but then don't stress too much about it if it doesn't go to plan, which it
I
inevitably
like
is
that.
most likely won't go to plan.
Yeah, I like that. So staying in the moment, don't give too much shit, don't get too stressed, just live in the moment, stay positive, be ready to pivot, because at the end of the day, nothing is certain, and as long as you are flexible, you can always find a way. I like that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Guys,
absolutely.
I hope I hope you guys are taking some notes. This is some good stuff on the wisdom here. I like this type of bit of talks.
It's like this
So
conversation turned into a whole different direction. It's not what I expected,
uh,
but that's cool.
yeah, I mean, we could talk an hour and 90 minutes, about high level, but we've already done so many episodes on that, and I also asked you if you're a nerd and you're not, so there's no point.
No, definitely not a nerd. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
So awesome, mate. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I've got two more questions, and then I'll let you finish with a bit of a segment. Well, your space. You can share anything you want. But first, any advice you'd like to give somebody that's looking to start their agency these days?
Yeah, I think the advice I would give is just for people. I know it's very cliche, but just start. Just go for it. Do it. Like it costs you, like, what, to get started, it costs you what, 97 USD a month for and I think the 30-day free trial, right? There's so many. I'm sure there's an affiliate link somewhere that you'll probably drop, or someone will drop that gives you a 30-day free trial of high level. Just start. Go in there, have a play around, and then think about who you can talk to that will need something like this. Your friends and family, I'm sure, run businesses, or even in local shops, or they just go look around you. The advice that I was given, and what most people say, is don't look too far away, just look around you, right? There will be businesses that will have no idea, and they will be doing things manually, that until you ask the question, you'll be surprised as to how many businesses are still doing all these things ineffectively, or paying too much for multiple subscriptions to do all these things when you can have it all in the one. So yeah, just start, you know, ask around, and I'm sure you'll be surprised. And then build upon it from there. And then you'll find there will always be new things that you'll see. There'll always be new things that you figure out as you start doing it. But the important thing is just to start doing it and don't overthink it.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. Plus, there's so many different models that you can take as well with high level. It doesn't mean that you have to save up enough money to be able to afford paying, $4.97 subscription and then having to go and become a SaaS business and resell it or be an agency. You could also just invest in yourself and, do the certification course and just get yourself skilled, get yourself qualified, and you could do really well on a freelancer side, right? You could just be a
Yeah.
freelancer, get on a directory, because let me tell you, there's so many agencies that are doing well, like selling it, but the thing that is harder to scale, and we kind of alluded to that as well on this interview, is the fulfillment, is the build outs. That's so much harder to scale. That you can't do it overnight. You can't just jump in a high level and start. You need experience. You need to build a bit of an expertise, and you need to be somebody who is like constantly looking at the latest updates, because there's just so many new updates. Stay onto it. So that's in itself, that could be a very lucrative career without having to have, you know, all the potentially stress like some might do.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. No, mate. This is your moment. This is your moment to say anything you want to the listeners before we wrap it up.
Oh, look, I mean, in terms of, I guess, advice wise, I still don't think that I'm the best person to be providing advice, but certainly from my experience, what I can share in the last 12 months is it's been a lot of learning, continuously learning. And, for those people that are sort of starting out or in the early stages of this, keep at it. Things will turn. For those people that are obviously much more ahead, like yourself and others, I'm learning from you all, right? I can't, I'm not in a position to give you any advice because you've done this, but I continuously learn. So it's very much about learning from those that are ahead of you in this journey, that have done that, and to your point, they've got so much value to add, and that helps you fast track your growth. But then equally pass that on as well. I would say, like, it is a very big community, not only in Australia but just globally. The high level community, that the guys have really built not only a really good platform but a really big community. Like every person that I've spoken to in the high level community, whether they work for high level, whether they run their own agency, whether they do, these podcasts like and stuff that you do, everyone is always very happy to just stop and share their experiences. And you said it rightfully. The reality is we are all competitors, right? But you would not even think that when you talk to these people, like you would not even feel like that is the case. So yeah, utilize the expertise, the experience that is out there, because that's only going to help you, and you're not going to lose from that situation. So that would be that's a good way to finish, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, what's interesting is, not a lot of friends that you might talk to know what you do, what you're doing as a business. Like, it can feel a little bit lonely, and like you might be like, "Am I like the only nerd on this planet?" Well, let me tell you this: when I went to high level level up summit, something amazing happens. You suddenly are surrounded with 800 other people who share the same experiences. They know, in and out that same world. So it's something special. You might find yourself drinking beer at 10 p.m., hanging around with other high levelers and just nerding out on particular AI infused workflow that somebody's built, and you're all going to understand that language. So that's a bit special. So if you're not getting that, that's because other people around you, your friends, family, they don't live your world. They don't live
That's
your
all right.
world. So do yourself a favor, if you want to like fast track it, come to Level Up Summit. Or maybe it's a little bit out of the budget. So maybe you do the SaaSpreneur. SaaSpreneur is great. It's now happening in London. It's happening in Dubai. Just happened in Sydney. So it's really and truly a global organization now with all these events. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
right.
definitely stuff that's. I think since the Sydney SaaSpreneur event, I think more and more people are starting to see that, yeah, actually, maybe we should be doing more events, in Australia, because the community is
Something's
growing here. So
something's
something is
brewing.
definitely brewing. Something is
Yes.
definitely brewing. So stay tuned, folks. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's good. Mate, it's been a pleasure having you on. Really appreciate you jumping on, sharing your journey and how you do what you do at your agency. So thank you so much, mate.
No, thank you for having me. It's been great. Yeah, as I said at the start, I was very apprehensive when I first signed up for this and said, "Am I really the right person?" But you made me realize that, yeah, I do have some sort of value to add, which is always good. But like me, I'm always like everybody else. I'm always learning as well. So that's the beauty of this. So thank you.
Here's the thing. here's the thing, right? No, you're welcome, right? Like, here's the thing, right? It's not just about experience, like thinking about like high level experience, right? You've been on this planet for a while, so you've got your own experience, your life experiences. And what's interesting is a lot of these things correlate to the world of business. And what I like about speaking to somebody who is sometimes not even from this community at all, people have their own like unique perspectives, and sometimes like some really good ideas come out of it. Here's a little sneak peek on that note, guys. I met somebody at a networking event here in Canberra. This guy, I'm gonna have him on a podcast. He's still organizing to book it. He specializes in something I've never heard anybody talk about in the marketing space: sonic branding. Sonic branding, so it's branding with sound. So he's a producer. He does stuff for big TV shows in US. It's mostly in the Hollywood and US industry that he works with. Most of the TV shows that you'd know from Netflix, he's done some form of sound, some sort of a sonic branding. Really, really interesting. So we're gonna have this guy on in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully soon. But yeah, there you go. Somebody who's not in the community, but I thought, I spoke to him and like, I bet you that would be useful for a lot of us because, we all tend to think in copywriting, visual identity, logos, how websites look, but not enough in sonic branding. But then you look at like people who do, like Billie Jean, like if you watch some of these ads, they're like a Hollywood style videos, right? But they all have soundtrack. They all have, sonic branding. They have this special music to create some sort of a emotion, some sort of a atmosphere. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. So thank you, mate. Thank you once again for jumping on. And guys, thank you so much as well. Thank you for listening to today's episode on the HighLevel Experience. If you've enjoyed today's episode, then please share it with your fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your SaaS to higher level, please go to highlevelexperience.com. Thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.